Breaking news for you. The Department of Justice is in the process of seizing shares of Robinhood that were allegedly used as collateral to fund loans to FTX's Alameda Research. This comes as the U.S. launches an FTX task force to try and recover as much of the lost $8 billion in funds as possible. All of this unfolding as former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty to federal charges in New York yesterday. The former crypto billionaire faces charges of money laundering, wire fraud conspiracy, and securities fraud. Cryptocurrencies starting off 2023 well below the levels they were at last year. Bitcoin, by the way, down 63% in the last year. A large part of that, of course, thanks to the FTX crypto scandal. Joining me now with what's next for crypto is the Chamber of Digital Commerce founder, Perianne Boring. Perianne, great to chat with you today. What kind of damage has FTX done, in your mind, to the crypto world and those that have always said, it's a bit too much, there's too much murkiness, there's not enough transparency? This doesn't help that argument, does it?
Yeah, this is certainly a setback, Ashley. FTX has been, all over the news, but we have to also recognize that there is no industry that is immune from fraud, scams, or bad actors. You ask about the current state of the crypto industry. Despite there being high volatility today, the market fundamentals remain solid. It is estimated that as many as 40 million Americans own cryptocurrency today. There is a lot of demand for digital assets. And if we're using Bitcoin as a benchmark to measure the health of the overall sector, the fundamentals of Bitcoin are at all-time highs. The number of users, the number of wallets, the hash rate, these are all currently sitting at record highs. Bitcoin is only 14 years old, and it's already one of the largest payment networks in the world today. Its transactional volume has exceeded that of American Express, and Discover is getting close to the size of MasterCard. So despite this being a very young and nascent ecosystem, there is volatility, but we are seeing very strong fundamentals underway.
But Perianne, how do we know, or how can we know that there's not another Sam Bankman-Fried out there? I know he hasn't been convicted, but he was like one of the darlings of the crypto world. Now he's facing some very serious charges. How do we know there's not another SBF out there?
Again, there's no industry that is immune to fraud or scammers. These bad actors could be anywhere. This was not a crypto scam. This was just a pretty straightforward case of fraud. The U.S. industry has really suffered from lack of a clear regulatory framework because businesses don't have clear rules to operate here. That has pushed a ton of activity overseas. We talked about the demand. Millions and millions of Americans want access to these products, and they have gone overseas. And that gave rise to offshore companies like FTX. Now, Washington, D.C. is coalescing, and there's a bipartisan movement to give U.S. investors and consumers the clarity they need so they can access U.S. regulated digital currency businesses. This is what the market wants. This is what I believe policymakers want. And this is what we've been advocating for going on a decade now at the Chamber.
You know, it's interesting, isn't it? Because for a while there, crypto was seen as this separate system of financing that was free of government regulation and central banking. But from what I'm gathering from you, you probably would welcome more regulation. Is that true?
We would like to see regulatory clarity. U.S. digital currency businesses today are regulated by both the feds at the federal level and regulators on the state level. However, there is turf wars between different federal agencies, most notably between the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. There is not agreement on which digital assets are considered securities regulated by the SEC or commodities regulated by the CFTC. Companies who want to follow the rules don't want to get in the middle of these turf wars, so they're taking a step back or they're taking that activity overseas. This is the type of clarity that I'm talking about that investors and businesses and consumers deserve, and we're working to achieve.
Well, that's a good question because I was going to finish there. If I'm going to invest in crypto for the very first time, how much information, what kind of research can I do that I feel comfortable that I can actually invest in this space?
This raises such an important issue. There is huge demand for access to cryptocurrency products, yet you
Yeah,
have to leave your brokerage or your financial advisors to invest in this space. We have been advocating to bring a spot Bitcoin ETF to market, which would pave the way for other crypto ETFs. So retail investors can invest with the advice of their brokerage or through their financial advisors. My piece of advice is do not invest in things you don't understand. If you don't realize what type of product
right.
you're buying, if you don't understand things like how to protect your keys, you can make critical missteps in this space. So we will continue to try to bring more regulated products to market for retail investors. In the meantime, make sure you know what you're getting into.
Very good advice. Great stuff and great information. Perianne Boring, thank you so much for joining us to talk about the latest in the crypto world. Great stuff. Thank you.